I'm Drea.
I'm Meg.
I'm Tina.
And I'm Jess. And this is Pardon My Stash. Welcome to Pardon My Stash, a podcast about knitting, the fiber arts, and how awesome it is. Before we get into this week's topic, let's share what we're working on now. Meg?
What I'm working on at this moment in time is a Franken sweater. I started this sweater a couple of times. I'm using our the Critical Hit Dyes Wheel of the Year, some of the colors. I wanted to do a faded sweater, but I couldn't decide. I couldn't find a pattern that had all of the features that I wanted. So I'm actually using 3 different patterns. One for the numbers of the actual construction of the chest and the body, one for the sleeves, and one for the fade. So it doesn't have a pattern, but it's pretty mindless. I'm enjoying it.
No patterns in all patterns.
I mean, no patterns in all patterns. I don't have a pattern I can name, but I'm just taking from a bunch. I did finish my Random Act of Kindness shawl that was made with the oh, thank you. That's 2 whole projects in a month.
I paused for a second because I thought I was going to accidentally hit the
Womp Womp. No, that one actually went well. The Womp Womp should be for all of my lack of progress for the first 6 months of the year, but apparently June was the month. But I knitted it out of Tosh DK from Jimmy Bean's Wool in the colorway Bird is the Word. And I was right about the Tosh DK. When I blocked it, it exploded.
Yeah, it got big.
It got about twice the size, which for a shawl is awesome. It went from a cute little neck accessory to I can literally wrap myself in this thing.
Nice.
And who doesn't love a bigger shawl?
And it's cozy.
I think it's going to be a nice workhorse shawl for the fall. My only cautionary tale, I guess. The yarn is great. It blooms like you wouldn't believe. It is super soft. But if you are going to make a garment out of it, I cannot stress this enough. You need to swatch. You need to swatch.
You need to block swatch. Don't just
block
knit it up.
swatch. And you need to or if you want to live dangerously, you're probably going to want to go down 2 sizes because it blooms. Awesome if you love, you want to do something bigger, that shawl grew 2 sizes with me doing literally nothing but blocking it. But that's not the kind of surprise you want if you're making a sweater. So just a cautionary tale.
That would warrant the
Exactly. But the yarn is great. I love the yarn. So
Drea?
I am working on the French Can shawl by Mademoiselle C. I've actually done the entire body.
which is really exciting.
It is, because I don't think that I've talked about it on the podcast yet. I don't think that I've posted any photos yet, except for the skeined yarn. The body knit up really fast, and I'm really enjoying the knit. The border's going to take forever.
As they do.
But it's cables, so I really enjoy it.
That's good.
The border goes faster than you think it's going to go. Trust me. Once you get into it, it's you have to do at least one section and then you're good.
Yeah. No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It looks really nice, though.
It does. I really like these colors together.
Well, it's that, and also the yarn is giving really plump cables,
Yes.
which is always nice.
The cables are
Very
stellar.
plump.
I love that. I am using Madeline Tosh DK in Home Means Nevada, and I'm also using Madeline Tosh Vintage in Rye Bourbon for the border. And yeah, I recommend this pattern already.
I also recommend that pattern.
It's a good pattern.
I've made it before. It's good.
Oh, right, you did.
I made it for my cousin Melissa. Yeah.
Yeah. Goes by fast. Looks good. These 2 colorways together are
Noise.
beautiful.
It's one of those ones where it looks a lot fancier than it is.
Say when it's done, we can display it next to the jellyfish and be 2 things you can do with this yarn.
It's true. It is 2 things that you can do with the yarn. I saw your jellyfish. It's amazing.
Thank you. Tina.
Well, I went and picked the easiest thing that I could not think while I'm knitting. So I'm working on my high vis beanie, which is not out yet. And it's going to be a complement to my high vis cowl. It's done in a similar way, and it looks like brioche, but it's not brioche. That way to keep it thin. I think I mentioned this, but I actually brought it with me, but I finished my seed dot in the Tosh, Madeline Tosh ASAP. You could take it. Go ahead, take
it's
it.
really squishy.
It's very squishy.
Is this the slouch version?
This is the slouch size 6, so it's the large adult because I have a massive head.
It's really, really soft and squishy.
Drea, don't put that on. It's going to be massive on you. You have a much smaller head than me.
I know. Hence why she's going to put it on.
Oh, Lord.
Amazing.
But the nice thing is it's a slouch, so it doesn't matter. Like as
It
long
actually
as
has a really nice slouch. I like it.
as long as it
you.
doesn't like the brim isn't too big.
Yeah.
It's
The
fine.
brim is actually pretty snug.
Well, it's the one thing I do like about the brim with this yarn, in particular the ASAP yarn, is that it's very squishy to the point that it's stretchy. So I could make a smaller brim and then let it kind of stretch out a bit, and it fits kind of a lot of different sizes. But
Did it block big?
I did not block it.
Oh, it's not blocked.
Oh, this is going to get even
I
Wow.
am extremely afraid to block that.
You should be.
I don't want to block it.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch it?
I have not blocked hats before for that same reason.
And to be
That's fair.
honest,
I don't think it needs a block.
I don't need to block it.
No.
Like, not everything needs a block.
That's true.
It's already in shape.
Yeah.
It's already has what it needs. I'm good.
When we did the what's it called?
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, the cocoa bean.
Yeah. See, you knew.
I did.
You're just being difficult.
I needed a second.
Okay.
I've had a stroke.
That was that was the one that I remember you guys finished it and you're like, oh, this block's big, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not blocking this hat. Like that's not
See,
happening.
mine came out okay though because I knit so tight.
You do knit tight, and I don't.
Mine, I have to put in the dryer every month or so when I'm wearing it.
Oh my God,
'cause
seriously?
It just stretches.
Oh
over
my
time.
God.
But I blocked mine and I knit loose like you do.
Yeah.
So it's a curse, I tell you. But yeah, the seed dot beanie is active. The upgraded version that has, it's made for DK to super bulky, and it also has extended sizing from essentially newborn to large adult. And it's actively being tested right now. And I actually,
That's exciting.
yeah, some people have finished. Some I have. So my testing, just for future reference, is extremely casual. I don't give deadlines. I don't make you do anything other than fill out a feedback form at the end of your knit so that I have the information I need to make adjustments as necessary. You can skip the photos, you can skip the social, you could basically everything else is optional. So because I don't want to do all that, so I'm not going to make other people do that. But yeah, there are still some openings, and you finish it basically when you finish it. Right now we have a casual, very loose date of August 31st, but I'd probably extend it if some of the sizes aren't tested yet. Since there's so many weights and so many sizes, I just literally can't knit them all. So, but yeah, so I'm here. Hooray.
Yes.
I am in the final stages of the I Am Dragon remix by Alexandra Davidoff. And I'm kind of playing Yarn Chicken because I'm using the Critical Hit Dyes Rainbow Blast, which is a rainbow gradient. And when I got to the end of the pattern, I was just getting into yellow. And I wanted to finish the rainbow. So I added a whole other scale repeat so I could get to the red. And now I'm in the red, and I'm doing the garter stitch.
So you're in the red, and you're probably
I'm in the red.
In every sense of the word.
In all senses of the word. And I have about, I think, 7 more rows of this garter stitch to go. And I don't know if I'm going to make it, which
It's not that dire. You can literally just make another skein.
I could make a mini skein of the red to finish it off. But even if I don't, it actually came really close. So this was fun. I really like it. It's super cute and rainbowy. And
you know how y'all were like, when I brought up a few episodes ago, that you just whack a bird on something and I buy it, and you guys were like laughing because it is funny. True. You whack a dragon on something, and Jess is gonna make it.
It's got dragon scales, and I did the So my Morgana shawl is actually I Am Dragon, like the
two.
That's right. Yeah, because the original one was a bit thicker, and this is very similar. It has the I Am Dragon 2 had 1 bead per scale, and this one has 3. And she did the construction a little bit different, so it's like. It's not super different, but I feel like on the backside looks a little cleaner now, which doesn't really matter to anyone but me because I'm the only one really looking at it. But it matters. So I really like it, and I like the extra beads, which I also had to add more of because I realized when I wanted to add in a whole other repeat, I needed to add 2 whole repeats of scales. So I did have to kind of cut it and string on some more beads and then redo it. So that was an adventure too, but we're here, we're doing it. We're playing the yarn chicken. That's not too dire of a yarn chicken, but I'm pretending it is. And
why?
It's the added
stress. Most of us look at yarn chicken and we're like, this is not, I don't want to even look at this. I'm kind of doing that with these
because
and it's giving me anxiety just looking at them.
If I'm determined enough, this will stretch.
Also, stress helps people with ADHD.
It's like it's fair. And then once I'm done with this, I do have to do the ribbing rows of my vest because that's all that's left.
You're so close. Like, just do it.
I know. Well, it's the ribbing on the hem, and then I have to pick up the collar, which is also ribbing, and I'm like, oh.
You're literally that meme of like, I fixed a problem that I've been putting off for 6 months in 3 minutes, and I will learn nothing from this.
Yeah, no, I know. And then after that, I got a Lord of the Ring book of patterns, so I'm gonna go through that and find something else to do. So those are my adventures. That's where I'm at. And if people want to see pictures of these projects or get more information about Pardon My Stash, be sure to check out our website, pardonmystash.com, for info, pics, patterns, and yarns. And you can also find some of the yarns, especially the Madeline Tosches that we were talking about in this episode, at jimmybeanswool.com. To get everyone a little bit more involved if they wanted to, and we know that not everybody is as active on social media platforms, and I know we do post a lot of stuff on our Instagram, but for those that aren't as active into the social media site, we did add a Q&A section into our webpage in the Get Involved page. So you can go in there, fill out the form there. If you have any questions or anything you wanted us to talk about, you can go to our Get Involved page, go to our Q&A section, and then you can write in your own questions that you would like to be answered, and we will try and go through them and get to them as we can, and try and cover some things or recover some things we might have mentioned briefly, but people might want more answers to. So we thought that would be a fun way to get more out of our community, because you guys often have a lot of cool questions and fun questions, and we like to look into it, and some of them are things we haven't thought about, and it gets us thinking about them. One of the questions that we actually got before we started our Q&A, so this one came just through our general contact, was from Bella L. They were wondering if we were ever going to talk about sweater and cardigan constructions. And I feel like that was something we may have touched very briefly on in the past, but it was something that got us all thinking about, what we actually do look at when we're looking at our constructions or on our pattern choosings. And I feel like most of us generally just choose a pattern that we like and haven't actually, as far as sweaters and cardigans go, I don't think any of us have actually written a pattern. I think the closest right now is you, Meg, who is taking a bunch of patterns and creating your own.
Oh, you mean for a sweater?
For a sweater,
yeah.
Yes.
This is not rocket science, though.
No,
but
it's
not.
But yeah, so like looking at it, we were all sort of like, okay, we don't have like a designer's eye for it because none of us have done it yet. But I feel like all of us do have things that we look for when we're looking for patterns or preferred sort of construction aspects that we lean more towards or avoid in general. For instance, I know it's all the ones that I have done thus far are seamless. I've done seamless sweaters. And mainly because I know that sewing seams is not my forte. I can't do them so they look nice usually. So the seamless ones are the way I go. So that's the usual. But there is one, it's a seam sweater and I can't remember the name of it. And a lot of people were doing it last year and it looked really cool. And so if I were ever to do a seamed one, it'd be that one. And I wish I could tell you what it was, but I don't remember the name. I'll have to find it.
Wow.
It was like, I don't know.
If you find it, I'll put it on the blog.
Okay. I've also only done top down.
I think the real advantage to seamless is that first off, it's generally it's all in one piece.
You don't have to worry about losing pieces.
Right. Well, not even that, but that really kind of promotes the uniformity of it. It's kind of hard to get like a lopsided shoulder when you're knitting it seamlessly in the round.
That's fair.
It is easier to make mistakes, I guess, or make things non-conforming when you're doing two of a kind. I remember reading this I don't even remember, I think 2005 or something on the Yarn Harlots blog where she was making a baby sweater in parts. And she did one side with one needle size and picked up did the whole other side in a different needle size. So doing that in pieces, okay, that's extreme, but seamless, you really don't need to worry about that as much because you're knitting it all at once. And there's also, if you are knitting top down, you can try it on as you go and see, is it long enough? Does it fit in the bust? Is it time to start the sleeves?
Invest in one of them loopy things if you're going to do that, though.
The barber cables. Those are great. But you really can't do that when you're doing it in pieces.
I have done exactly one sweater. It was a cardigan. It was a seamless cardigan. So the body was all one piece. And it was top down. And I liked that it was top down. I liked that I could gauge where I was going to put the sleeves. And I liked that it was all in one piece as I was making it. But I don't think that I would do another seamless sweater or cardigan with that many cables again.
It was beautiful, but that was a lot of cables.
It was beautiful and it was a lot of cables. And it wasn't that I didn't enjoy doing the cables, but when I was done, the sweater was just so heavy.
Yeah, I bet.
It lost all of its shape.
Yeah.
So I think that the addition of seams would give it a little bit more structure. So I think that's something that I would try for my next sweater.
Yeah, seamless isn't going to give you... seamless is great for color work or a single color.
Or a pullover.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, even a cardigan that is like if you're going to steek.
Yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, you make a really good point that if you're going to do something that's going to be a lot of cables and really heavy... you want that extra reinforcement in the seams.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
I remember I made it so that it would end at about my knee. And I loved that. That's where I wanted it. But after I started wearing it, it was on the floor.
Oh my God.
And I ended up, I did end up taking it back.
That's right. Didn't you
I
frog
did.
it? And
yep. I frogged off the bottom third.
Oh my God, which is so much.
I know.
That's so much work. God.
I know. And I frogged it so that it would come just to at my bum. So that when I wore it and it stretched, it would cover my bum, which is what I wanted at the very least. That's my baseline requirement. I never actually reblocked it when I was done. And I didn't actually weave in my ends again. So it's technically back in my unfinished pile.
The way you said
Return to the
I
whip.
thought that this was going to be a lot more ominous.
No.
Like the ending was going to be a lot worse. I was like waiting for the catastrophe.
Nope.
The way you were leading into it, I'm
Nope.
like, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Just
What
sad
happened?
that it's never being worn.
It will. When the time is right. When the time is right.
Yeah.
You finish it.
I think
Again.
I think I would want to make a different sweater and make it more to what I actually want.
Right. Well, you know what though? It was like, it was a good.
It was a good
It
first
taught
sweater.
you what
Yeah.
you like
Yes.
and
Well,
what you don't like.
more that.
Yeah.
Less what I like because I don't think that I found what I like yet, but I definitely know what I don't like. So I'm going to try again eventually. Mm-hmm. I'm just not ready for that kind of a project.
That's fair.
I'm kind of enjoying simple projects.
That's fair.
I have finished exactly one this year.
Hey.
Technically, it's not done yet because I never blocked it.
Doesn't matter. It still gets applause.
Yeah,
Just like 90% of my projects these days.
I didn't block Dark Academia for a year.
I
So,
still haven't blocked
it's all
the
good.
Celtic Myths shawl.
That's impressive.
I keep saying that I'm going to do it and then I don't.
That was early 2022.
Stuff like that takes so much time because you need space and towels and cat protectants and
Yeah, I think I'm a little like warded off to wanting to block anything after the cats like ate a hole
You need a designated
in that
blocking
shawl.
room.
Yeah.
Like you need a room. To
I don't
block
really
things.
have that right now.
That's fair.
designated
You
blocking
block at my
towel.
house.
I could.
My dogs don't jump up on tables.
I could.
I've done seamless and seam sweaters. I've done top and bottom. So top down, bottom up.
You did a bottom up?
I did.
Which one was that?
It was did I frog that? I might have frogged that. No, it was like a black sweater and I don't have it. And I don't know if I gave it to somebody, but I feel like it was actually one of the first sweaters I made and I don't think I kept that. It's either frogged in the bellows of my whatever, but I definitely done seamed and seamless because there was a baby cardigan that I did that ended up being seamed, and I didn't realize that, but I was already too far in.
Now I'm
Yeah,
committed.
no going back now.
I don't. So it's funny. I knit very loosely, but I seam very tightly. So I found my seaming to make it difficult to wear, especially in the armpit. For the baby, it didn't matter, and he said it fit the baby just fine. But I'm sure she grew out of it very quickly because the armpit was very tight. So I don't know if I need to look at better techniques in seaming, especially the sleeves. That was like you had to like you did the back. There was 2 front panels, there was a collar, and then there was 2 sleeves, and it was all done separately. So it was fun. I liked a couple of things about that. I'll tell you pros and cons. So the pros were I got a lot of like feel good feelings every time I finished a section. Because like you
You
finish
get that
it.
high in
Yes.
stages.
So you
that's
finish
that's
a piece
fun.
and then you're like, yes, now I could do the next piece,
Yeah.
you know?
It's almost like finishing multiple projects.
Yeah.
I like that.
The other good part I liked about it is when I would finish a piece, I could actually measure it and make sure that it looked like roughly the finished measurements. I could block them one at a time. Like it was easier to like determine if I made a gauge whoopsie way earlier than when I finished the whole sweater. The only negative for me was the seaming on the pits because I really don't think I put those sleeves on right. I think they were I think I did it too tight. So I probably just need to learn a looser seam for armpits. I've done a few seamed sweaters or seamless sweaters. Oh my God, I can't get these words right. I've done a bunch of seamless sweaters and I tend to do those only because they tend to be more popular nowadays anyway in patterns. I don't see a lot of seamed sweaters patterns. I mean, I don't necessarily look for them, but even when I'm just like casually looking for patterns, I don't necessarily have to check off I only want seamless sweaters because the majority that show up are seamless.
I hadn't thought about that, but you are right.
Yeah,
they pretty much are.
Yeah. Like I said, I downloaded that baby sweater one, and I was like, "Oh, it seamed. Oh shoot, time to learn a new skill."
Too late now.
And I definitely did bottom up because I remember I actually preferred bottom up, and I'll tell you why. And it's because as much as with the top down, you can fit it as you go, I still think you can do that even with a bottom up. And I actually could like put it at my armpit and like determine if it was long enough torso wise, before I got into the sleeves and stuff. The negatives, I think, for me with seamless is that I think you could make, believe it or not, a easier mistake with seamless when it comes to the yoke and the shoulders than seamed. And I'll tell you why. Because when I was doing the seamed baby sweater, I would do one piece. And so I did one sleeve, which included, so I did one sleeve, I did a front panel and a back in the back. So if I had the front panels, I could compare one panel to the other. And if it was off, then I knew right away this was wrong. And I could fix it and adjust it. And I could actually take it from that one piece rather than taking apart the entire sweater.
That's fair.
With a seamless, sometimes you don't even realize that there's something janky going on with it until you put it on.
And then you're committed.
And then you're like, well,
the only thing to do is rip it all out. That's fair.
We're just going to run this way with it.
That's fair.
But the benefits, as you mentioned, everybody else mentioned with seamless being that it's kind of done as you go. So if you're someone that just wants to be done once, I think seamless makes more sense. But if you really like to get that, like, I finished something every so often, I think that seamed actually might be a good option for you. I also think if you're customizing, like the sizing, like say you the sizes are dumb and they only did like 3 and you need to obviously extend it for the rest of the world. And when you're trying to do it, it's actually, I find it easier to adjust the sizing with the seam than the seamless.
I bet that would be easier if you're like between sizes too.
Yeah.
Like if you're a large in the arms, but a medium in the bust or something.
Yeah.
Not my problem, but
no, but that is a huge problem with seamed sweaters is that they're really, especially with the arms, the shoulders, there's not a lot of, or seamless, not seamed. There's not a lot of wiggle room to customize when you split for the sleeves and everything. That's all already decided for you.
Yeah,
That's a really good point.
I feel like it would actually be beneficial for me to make a seamed sweater at some point because I have very large triceps and I tend to not fit in a lot of shirts that are my size, but they're not my arm size. So it would be beneficial for me to make those separately so that I could actually size them to my arms comfortably rather than praying and hoping that the yarn will stretch and cover my arm.
I will say there are some patterns I've noticed in some of the newer patterns that have like optional darts around the bust.
Yes,
so you
and I like that. Yeah,
you can kind of adjust that a little bit better. So it doesn't change like where like say the yoke starts and ends and where the sleeves start and ends per se, but given the dart you can adjust it right under for that if you're confident enough to try and figure out the measurement for that dart.
But the dart can also help with the hem at the bottom. So if you're heavy chested and you're making the sweater and you put no darts, it actually will rise a bit and it'll be like a high-low on you. Yeah, if you put in those darts so that you can account for the chest, you'll actually get more of an even hem. So if I see that there's like a dart option, I'm like, ooh, I'm excited.
Doing that.
I haven't figured out how to like adjust a pattern to just have darts yet because I'm just not there.
It is a lot.
I'm not there. But designers who are doing it, A+, my friend.
Yeah,
A+. Applause for you. Because I'm heavy chested and darts are great and they make my hem nice and even.
Kind of going along with that, one of the things I definitely look for when I'm picking a sweater pattern, I'm not interested in a sweater pattern that has no short rows for the back of the neck.
Yeah.
I don't like that construction. It's definitely easier to do because you don't have to do that extra step. but it doesn't lie as nice.
You're choking without it.
Right. It doesn't give you that nice like back collar. So your collar basically just lies flat and it ends up coming up to the base of your neck.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go grab any t-shirt. Any feminine cut t-shirt, because they tend to have it.
So true.
Go to a feminine cut t-shirt and you will see, you lay it down and you'll like, if you pull it up so that the seams are at the top, you'll actually notice that the back is a little bit higher than the front. And then you're going to go, why is that? It's so you don't choke.
But don't do that with a unisex t-shirt because they don't do it. And that's why I was laughing, because I thought that was what you were going to say.
I really don't understand.
It's really frustrating.
Here's the thing. No, it's frustrating, but I feel like I don't know why a lot of guys' stuff doesn't have that, because the way their muscles go, they too have a bit of that roundness on
we
the
all
back.
have it.
Like, so I don't understand.
But men, they want to choke. They're men.
Like,
They're gruff and they don't need no considerations to make it comfortable.
It's really frustrating.
They don't need to breathe.
They don't need to breathe.
like,
Yeah,
it is.
Men. Okay, that's obviously sarcasm. People, please don't DM me.
oh, jeez.
Don't at me.
Don't at me.
No, but it is. And I remember the first time I did make a top-down sweater, I was like, why do I have to do this? This is stupid. I don't want to add like all these rows.
But it feels so nice.
Oh my God. It's night and day different. And I will say, I've also done bottom up and top down. My first sweater was accidentally a bottom up for my daughter. And just like you, I downloaded it. I got all the yarn. I sat down and was like, well, crap. Like I was all ready to cast on for the collar. And I'm like, oh no. I found, and maybe now, 3 years later and 4 sweaters later, I might feel differently. But for my first sweater, I found that doing short rows bottom up was way harder than doing them top down.
Yeah.
I was like, first off, my brain just exploded when I was trying to follow the directions. German short rows are also really weird the first time you look at them too, because you're like, I can't believe you're actually telling me to do this.
I hate German short rows on the purl side. Just throwing that out
Yeah, I'm
there.
not a fan of those either.
The purl side, I'm always like, wait.
But doing them top down was a lot easier to wrap my brain around than doing them bottom up. Bottom up, I was like, I hopefully this looks right. I don't know.
This is kind of a complete left field comment, but with German short rows, I find that the only way that I can get through the purl side is that I do swing your German row round and round. Because you literally have to swing it.
That is fair.
You have to swing it over.
Fair.
So it makes me remember, oh yeah, this sucks.
That's all I'm going to think about from now on when I do German short rows.
No, I'm telling you though, I'll be doing the German short row on the knit side. I'm like, okay, this is great. I love this. This is fine. On the purl side, I'm like, can I do the wrap and twist? This is awful. I just want to know. This is terrible.
You're just swinging your German short row round.
And you may be tempted to just be like, I'm going to skip this and I'm just going to, don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do that unless you want an uncomfortable sweater that looks nothing like the picture.
No, the short rows definitely add just that bit of shaping that's so much more comfortable.
One we haven't talked about that I'm pretty sure everyone has done at this point is raglan style top down. I'm pretty sure everyone's done it.
Your seamless was not raglan.
It wasn't raglan? That was in the round?
Guys, I don't know what raglan means.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. No, I'm telling you.
Hers was.
I'm telling you.
Everyone's like raglan. I'm like, oh, that's raglan. And
Excuse
like,
me.
no, it's not.
Your
I'm like,
vest is, I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
Wasn't it?
It's
I don't know. It doesn't have sleeves.
I don't know. Yeah, it's where basically you cast on like a cardigan.
It like goes from your armpit to the top of your shoulder.
Yeah, and basically there are 2 spots where they're like you do the stitches for the sleeve. Then there's a spot where you do increases on each side. You do the back, increases on each side, do the other sleeve.
Yeah, I did that.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure that was the style.
Mine was knit flat until I joined it, and that was it. It like joined weird.
But you knit back and forth?
Yes.
That's a raglan
So
style.
just knitting back and forth is
Yeah.
raglan. Okay.
So I hate that.
Me too.
And I have like literally, so I have cast on.
All that lead up was Meg saying,
I don't like it. Like, no, I don't know what it is. Because I've now cast on 2 different sweaters, 2 different tops in a raglan style. 3. And 2 of them are in bags, never to be seen again until I get the guts to yank them out. And this is the 3rd in front of me that you can see I tore it out and started over again. I don't know what it is. There are so many good points to the raglan. Again, like you're shaping it as you go. You're creating the sleeves as you go. And I imagine it would be easier to customize the size, especially of the shoulders when you're doing the raglan style. That being said, I don't honestly have a good, we could just say it's straight prejudice against the raglan top because I don't have a good reason. I cannot concentrate on it. I'm not a fan.
Comments from Megan do not represent the part of my.
Nobody else maybe is. No, Jess is too. Jess is too prejudiced against the raglan top. But there really is no short rows on the raglan top. In most cases, I believe, because you're just building the increases into the back of the shirt as you go. So it's a very different experience.
I think the raglan hate comes from the fact.
Okay, I didn't say hate. Did I say hate?
Okay.
I dislike.
It's a very strong
dislike.
A prejudice dislike.
A prejudice dislike from the raglan top.
I think it honestly comes from the fact that there are a lot more points of failure. So like when you're doing seamless yoke and you're just going and going and just increasing and it has a consistency to it. I feel like a raglan is very easy to, did I do an increase after I did
that
the
is
yarn over?
I
don't remember.
Fair.
And then you're counting and you're like, nope, I didn't do the increase. I got to go back. Or you're counting and you like get a different number every time on that part. And you're like, I don't know if I increased.
Yeah. No. And I mean, honestly, my other thing, and this is going to sound really stupid. So actually, no, I did complete one raglan sweater. Calliope is a raglan. Yeah. It is. But the difference with Calliope is that you start in the round, you knit the collar, and then you do raglan increases after you do the collar. So if you look at the sweater, there's raglan sleeves underneath the round collar, and I didn't mind that as much. And
they were kind of hidden.
They are kind of hidden when you look at them. You don't realize it, but I will say I really think, and try not to at me, I really do not enjoy purling as much as I enjoy knitting. And when you are knitting the common, ordinary, run-of-the-mill raglan,
it's because you knit continental.
I knit English.
Style. No, I said English or continental. That's why you don't like purling.
I don't like to purl.
I've never liked Portuguese.
To purl. I've never liked to purl. So I think that might be it, is I don't like knitting back and forth. I really don't. There it is.
Well, I liked mine.
You did. And that's fair. Like, that's the thing. There's no wrong. Like, I don't think that necessarily is wrong.
No, it's just the response. Well, I liked it.
But it's I don't know. And I think maybe it might be psychological. Knitting in the round feels faster to me. I also don't love the idea of picking up for the collar. I'm not a fan.
No, that's fine.
I'm not a fan of that. Like,
that is fair.
I don't like picking up in general because
I don't like picking things up either. Oh God, picking up for the armpit.
No, I didn't mean
part.
picking up off the ground, which is also terrible. But like picking up.
Oh no,
I thought you were like, you mean picking up stuff off the ground?
No, I was saying picking up the armpit.
I was like, yes, Meg, I also don't like bending over.
Wait, I didn't say that though.
That's how my brain computed. And I went, Meg, I also agree that that's terrible, but I'm talking about the.
I was too.
Oh my God.
No, I don't like picking up the underarm stitches. I don't like.
There's like a certain way you have to do it.
You do. You got it's very finicky.
I love picking up stitches. I love doing it.
That's so weird.
Picking up the gusset stitches
Oh,
for socks.
no. Oh,
Man,
no.
That was my jam, especially when you turn the sock inside out and you get that really nice like line of
So with
that is so good.
with socks, I didn't mind going up one side, like going up the first side and then knitting across. But for whatever reason, going down the other side, I always ended up picking up the wrong number of gusset stitches. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, we'll work this one out as we go. I don't knit socks anymore for a reason.
Depends on the project. See, like I don't normally like picking up the armpit as well, mainly because there's no real good way to pick it up where it's like
Foolproof.
Yeah, well, where you're not, honestly, the best way to do it is to kind of pick up 2 stitches next to each other and knit them together as one. And you get a tighter armpit, but then you have to do it twice in the same way for it to be even, and there's a risk. So I don't like that. But I've done a lot of shawls where it's like you started off like knitting up and then you pick up the side for the border, and that's always kind of fun.
Oh God, no, I love that.
Like,
I love that
that's
cast
fun.
on.
I'm doing that right now.
That's the tab cast on. I love that.
Like that's fun. That's like, oh, okay, like this is interesting.
Oh yeah, the gusset looks like this on the inside.
I love how excited you just got.
Yeah, I know.
Hey.
And so when it's like stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, because if you do it right, it does. It's like chef's kiss. You're
So
like, oh,
satisfying.
look at that. That's nice. But yeah, no, when you're doing the armpit or like sometimes the top of the sleeve, just because of the way it's done, and it's like there's no good way to pick this up without making a seam, which is supposed to be there, but I don't like it, and that's annoying.
If you don't relate to any of this commentary about weird things we like, you haven't been knitting or crocheting long enough. Trust me, once you get to a certain
One day
point,
you'll be like, oh.
you'll be like, oh my God, ribbing.
Okay, I look at it the same way as becoming an adult and being real excited about that new vacuum cleaner you just bought.
Listen.
Or the new set of pots and pans.
I just got a mattress vacuum and it has changed my life.
Yeah, it's adulting.
Yeah, we just got like a couch vacuum that we have to try.
It has a UV ray on it, and
course
it
it
like
does.
no, but like I use it on my mattress, but I also use it on the dog beds, and it works.
that's
It
nice.
cleans up those beds so good. Oh, I'm telling
But that's that. No, and I think there is something to be said too for like, I don't know, like a couple of years ago, I was very much like everything that I do, I want to learn a technique, and I want to have all these things in my arsenal. And I understand how to make a raglan sweater. I have found I don't enjoy it. And I think that knowing what you like and doing what you like is more important than arbitrarily checking off things on a list to say, I've done this, I'm good at this. I think it is fair to try something.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to try something and say, this isn't my cup of tea. I'm going to do it a different way. This is supposed to be fun.
Where's the fun in like doing like, oh, well, I have to do a sweater because, you know, when I do a sweater, that makes me a knitter. You know what I mean? Like it goes back into that kind of mentality.
Right. And I think it's fair to say, like, I would love to try this. And who knows, you may love it. You may try it and love it. But I think it is also fair to be like, I don't think not finishing a certain type of project makes you any less skilled or any less of a knitter or any of that. Like, I think it's fair to say, you know what, like, I've tried it.
I don't like it.
It's not my thing. Yeah. I mean, I used to knit socks all the time. I don't enjoy it. I'm not going to knit socks just to be like, well, I'm not a complete knitter unless I'm churning out a pair of socks every year. Like, that's silly.
Guys, I think my next project is going to be socks.
You haven't done socks in so long,
right?
man.
Yeah,
like,
I
you really
know.
should.
And now I'm thinking about those gussets.
Guys, I need another
it's
color
really
work.
getting me right now.
They're pour on the burn there.
I feel like I go through 7 stages of grief with shawls. Like I get like, yeah, this will be fine. This will go quick. This will be fine. Oh no, I'm in the middle and this will never end. And then I get like close to the end, then I'm like, ooh, I'm almost done. I swear to God.
And then you get to the border and you're like, wow, this is literally like
The
picking
end
up
of my
toothpicks
life. Yes.
with
and
and then you get to the euphoria of
yeah,
finishing.
you block it and it's sitting
Yeah.
there. And then like you get like, you know how they talk about like when you give birth, you get amnesia and then
Yes.
you want another child. Yeah, it's just like that. I get amnesia and suddenly I want another shawl.
Yeah.
For all the shawls you wear.
I do. No, I've made a lot.
It's just about creating art at this time.
I know.
It's just about the art.
It's just a weird process.
I thought the same thing because I don't wear a lot of my stuff. And I'm like, why am I doing this? And I'm like, for the sheer creation of it. Like, I may never wear these things. It's okay.
See, I make a lot of shawls, but I wear them at work.
Yeah. I actually am thinking about wearing shawls to work this year, and I'm waiting for the reaction. I bet it's going to be great. They're going to call me like Baba Yaga or something like that.
Yes.
Well, you work with teenagers.
I do.
Meanwhile, I work with lawyers, and they all go, "Oh, that's so nice."
Right. See, there's the trade-off.
And that's all the time we have for this episode. For additional content and opportunities to connect with the cast, be sure to check out our website at pardonmystash.com. And remember to tune in next time for more tips, nits, and wits at Pardon My Stash.